Stay tuned for the Filmmaker Show right here on Long Island Cablevision Channel 20.
Watch Legal Straight Talk right here on Long Island Public Access Channel 20.
Why are you playing with your toys?
I watched Madhousetv.
Rolling and action.
Hi, welcome to the Filmmaker Show tonight. I'm Jerry Parisi.
I'm Michelle Parisi.
Look at that. You got your name right. Were you practicing?
For like the last 2.5 years, I've been practicing.
I'm so glad you did that. And we have our West Coast correspondent who seems to be living here now forever. That would be
Alana Phillips. Goodness.
You know, I want to tell you, we have a wonderful guest tonight, which you got a glimpse of a moment ago. But before we begin, I want to mention this little story about Little West 12th Street. So I get this call from ABC TV's The Family. And of course, they tell me that I have holding that morning over at Little West 12th Street. And I'm like, okay, that's got to be by 13th and near 14th. Well, it's not. Little West 12th Street is this little 2-block area snug away in Manhattan where you can't really find it. About a few months later, we got a call from our very good casting director friend, Donna McKenna. And you may say, Donna McKenna.
Oh, Donna McKenna.
She thinks the show should be made of that alone.
Previously on Donna McKenna. It just sounds like a great name.
It's a good name. And we were asked to be in a show called Little West 12th Street where Alana got a chance to read. And with that, we have the writer, the executive producer, and, of course, the star of the show, along with some of the other wonderful friends, Mr. Wes Agar. Welcome to the Filmmaker Show here, sir.
Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, thank you for coming out.
So,
definitely.
our first question of the day is, how tall are you? No, I'm only
How
kidding. Where did you come up with the name Little West 12th Street, other than Robert from the New York City poll that said it Little West 12th Street?
Yeah, sure. Well, this was originally a screenplay, and the screenplay was first called Subway Stop.
Oh.
And we transitioned it into a TV show, and it's a neighborhood TV show. So we kind of are based in the meatpacking in West Village, and that street, Little West 12th Street, is in the meatpacking West Village. And like you said, it's very hidden. It's a two-way street. Yeah. And our director, actually, Roberto Monticello, he kind of came up with the idea to have this street as our iconic neighborhood street that we base everything around. Just because it's so, like you said, so hidden. No one really knows what's going on with it. I mean, for the nightlife era, it's very popular. But when that's not happening, who lives there? What's going on? And that's kind of where we base this around, to have a neighborhood around that, to show a coffee shop, to show a bar. Little West 12th Street is very bohemian. It's small. It's a neighborhood feeling. And that's kind of how we came up with it.
Was it ever a play?
Was it ever a
play? You said it was written as a screenplay. Did it ever go into production as a play?
Not for a play, but it was going to be a feature film. So we were going to develop it into a feature film, and then we transitioned it into a TV show. So when we did that Little West 12th Street really came about, and that was everyone just really loves the title, and it stood out as a nice little kind of TV show.
And how long have you been working on the project?
Probably about over a year and a half now.
Sure.
From
That's like-
pre-production.
That's in like baby production, and you're already
Yeah.
already videoing it. That's
Definitely,
great.
definitely. Yeah, we went from pre-production, like I said, we were gonna shoot it as a feature film, and then we transitioned it into a TV show. And from pre-production to actually shooting it to now we're in post, it's probably going to be about a 2-year project, indefinitely.
How did you get involved with it? Was it because I remember talking to Roberto as well? Did he bring this up to you, or did you bring it up to him? Who had their hands on Little West first?
It was kind of very, very serendipitous of how it worked out. I opened up my own company, which is 777 Pictures, and Roberto lives in the meatpacking industry and the West Village, and this is all kind of based all around true characters and true events. So it used to be a bar called Milady and a cafe, which is in West Village, and that's kind of where he based his feature subway stop around. And just one day I was in that area, and he approached me and saw me, and he says, I have this screenplay, and we just started talking, and he's like, there's this character in there that it's perfect for you. And my company started building with it, and just kind of took off from there. And that's how it all sparked.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about Little West 12th Street, the characters, and is it
Sure,
a comedy? Is it dramatic?
Yeah, well, it's kind of a dramedy in a sense.
Dramedy.
It's like I said, it's based
love
around.
that word.
It's based around a small neighborhood, one coffee shop that's also a bar, and all these characters live in the same area and kind of blend with each other. So it's kind of a take on Cheers meets Friends meets a modern twist of Girls on HBO.
I love it.
So it gives it like the edge. It's obviously something that's not going to be driven towards networks like ABC, NBC, those kind of things, because it's more edgy, has sexual situations, it has language.
Oh, my favorite thing. Go ahead.
Wait, language or sexual situations?
Sexual everywhere. You have a chandelier I could work with?
Exactly.
I just want to double check.
But it has all those elements combined, and the characters, we're going back to what we talked about, are very, very diverse, from all different races, from all different ethnicities, in that sense, from all different there's women that like women, men that like men. There's all different things that happen within this show.
You have a great cast too. Kevin Brown being one of them.
We were able to get a very, very talented group of people, from Uptown Kevin Brown to Sean Young to Lou
who I
Martini
met also,
Jr.
very sweet.
Yeah, so all of them are involved in it and add to the kind of
Adds to the
diversity
mix.
of the cast. Yeah, so it's been good so far.
Do you think will filming be mostly at that bar that we shot at the
Yeah,
other week?
yeah, from there, and then we're going to really touch into the neighborhood, because that neighborhood within itself is a character. And I don't think anyone's really touched that neighborhood before.
Yeah, it's very it's a lot calmer compared to the rest of Manhattan, I think.
Well,
I
it
mean,
is during the day, but at night it turns
night.
into that's where all the clubs are at. And that's
okay.
why it's so,
That's why it's still called the meat packing industry.
that's why it's
Jam!
nice. Very nice.
Michelle.
Michelle's dying right now.
No, I'm not really dying.
But it has the cobblestone roads, the
Yes.
unique look of West Village,
Sure.
and the meatpacking combined. It's going to be nice for everyone to see that environment and not it being such a crazy nightclub place that everyone sees at night.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Definitely, and it has a lot of history as well. Going back 30 years, was a completely different neighborhood than it is now.
I don't know much about it other than that I saw it. Holding was there. We shot literally across the street, the family. And I shouldn't be saying that. I think it's supposed to take place in Maine, but
There you go.
yes, we shot in Maine.
Not anymore.
We'll soon find out how much they've cut me out for that one alone.
Yeah, right.
Right.
What in terms of the area itself, are you just going to stick to the bar, or are you going to stick around the neighborhood? You're going to be able to shoot out on the
Yeah,
streets?
well, we're gonna use all exteriors for that area. So we have like one distinct bar, one distinct coffee shop, but in terms of like apartments and things like that, where
Yeah,
everyone
what
lives,
about things like
they'll
that?
all live in that area as well. So all the entities of other restaurants and other things that we use in daily life, they'll all be in that area as well. So it's just going to be very tight knit to show how a community that you wouldn't expect live there and what they do, and these diverse characters being involved in it, and like I said, the environment. It's all going to come together for this nice kind of family-oriented but edgy show, I guess. Yeah.
And do you have any social media that we can be updated?
Yeah, definitely.
With?
There's a Little West 12th Street page, Facebook page. Which shows a lot of stills and pre-production and things like that. So you guys can check that out. We have a website coming. We're going to have a pitch and everything like that. So within the next probably 3 weeks, we'll have a lot more things set up for us.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So.
Definitely.
So tell us about some of the plots that go on.
Sure. Just a little kind of, like I said, it's this group of people that come together. One of the main things is that there is myself, Bobby. I play Bobby in the show. He's married to an older woman, and he's actually, he could be impotent or sterile, so they're dealing with that problem. Yeah, so that problem is a big theme throughout
I was thinking here,
yeah.
cougar and young guy sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, well, that's what kind of
sterile
this
and impotent
tension.
are not great.
Yeah, and she's
sterile. I think impotent is worse than sterile.
Yeah, she's a Dear Abby, so she's a columnist, and she's probably right about 40-ish, and she's kind of advancing in her career. And there's that kind of break change between a younger guy. I'm a struggling musician, and they're kind of trying to have kids, but they can't. And she's growing in her career, so that's one theme that's evolving around it. Her best friend is someone that likes women. She's a healer. She's a newfound shaman, so she deals with crystals and rocks, and she tries to convert everybody into that.
Here I thought healer. I was like somebody with stilettos, but you know.
A healer.
Yeah, and there's a younger girl that she's actually involved with that I kind of draw my attention to, and so some things happen with that. So there's a lot going on, and then even to my best friend in the show, Kevin Brown, who plays Roland, he owns the bar and he owns the coffee shop.
So he plays your best friend?
He plays my best friend, which he's also older. He's probably in his 40s. And he finds an attraction to my wife because they're kind of very similar. So a lot of things go on. So
and you're like, what, two?
Yeah, exactly.
And who plays your wife?
Her name is Yvonne Schaefer. That's her name as.
I think we met her.
Yeah, you might have met her. Yeah, definitely.
She's blonde?
No. She's African American, and she has like curly hair.
No, I do know.
I did meet her. Yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of twists going on within just the pilot we shot, which is going to give a lot of different angles for the episodes to come.
Well, that sounds
great.
like fun.
Yeah.
And I take it you shoot on Red. I remember seeing Red.
This was we shot on the Dragon. It was all 6K, so it's the newest camera out there right now. So the footage is looking really, really nice.
Crisp.
So for those filmmakers out there that are watching the show, how do you go? What can you suggest in terms of going from the pre-production to production, which you seem to have gone at rapid speed? Because I hear that it can take years to get from point A to point B.
Well, honestly, one thing that really, really helped my company, since we're a new company, production company, is we joined with another production company, and that was Choice Films. Summer Crockett Moore, Tony Glazer, they're the ones that own Choice Films, and they're a very well-known company within the city. They produce features to TV series to all types of content. Once they decided that they wanted to jump on as co-producers, they really sped the process up for what we need to do in terms of SAG work, in terms of getting a crew together, budget, all different things like that. It was kind of I gave them a date that I wanted to start filming, and they said, okay, this is what we have to do, A, B, C, D, and whatnot. And it really sped the process up. Without that entity, in more of if you don't have that development yet, then it takes longer. It definitely does. But they're just so pro at that they kind of moved it on Excel speed, which is nice.
So the other production company,
they moved us to another entity. Yeah.
So having people that really know what they're doing helps things expedite.
Yes, and definitely. And that also in terms comes from contacts too. Is once we joined with them, Donna McKenna jumped on. She was able to get us in touch with different casts, Uptown Kevin Brown, Lou Martini, all those people that kind of know Donna and know how good of a casting director
Lou Martini,
she is.
actually. It's so funny.
Lou Martini was really cool.
Yeah, he was a
Very
great
funny.
guy.
He was with us in Holding.
The funny thing was, I said to him, I said, where do I know you from? I say, you in vinyl, because I'm in vinyl.
He just did vinyl.
And he did vinyl. I said, yes. Well, we saw each other on a set. It's so funny that the amount of things that you do, you wind up really seeing each other all over again. And in fact, I just was working with Joyce Philbin what was on the Collateral Beauty with Will Smith.
Okay.
And I've worked with Joyce on Gotham, but she happens to be a friend of ours. And you wind up meeting all your friends and the ones you make on set all the time. Oh, you're working today? Oh, you're working today. Oh, you're here today? Yeah, I'm doing this today.
Absolutely.
It's
especially
a funny
in
thing.
New York and being out here Long Island, so everything's so connected that once that group kind of works together, then it's
That's sad. Oh,
it
God,
just
everybody knows
blends.
everybody. There's no two ways about it.
Indefinitely.
So don't screw up because
Yeah,
everybody's
yeah,
going to know
exactly.
about that.
It's true. It's
Within
true.
one day, everybody's going to know
true.
all about you.
Exactly.
It's just amazing who you meet on set anyway, because I knew who Sean Young was, and I was just shocked to meet her. And because I had no idea she was a part of it,
Yeah.
and then with Kevin Brown, who I was telling
Yeah,
you
that's a
this
funny
earlier,
story.
but I was so we were, I guess we were switching scenes or something, and it was freezing, and so Esther and I were sitting in the car with Wes and Kevin Brown, and I'm sitting in the back with Kevin, and I'm listening to them. They're rehearsing lines. And I'm listening, and I'm like, this guy looks really familiar. How do I know this guy? And I have no clue. So he says this one line, and it's hilarious. And I tell him, I'm like, oh my God, you're such a great actor. You are gonna have the crowd rolling with laughter when you say that. And I'm like, and he's like, oh, thanks, and he's all cool about it. And then I go on IMDb later. I'm like, that's Kevin Brown. I have done that so much. Like when I met Clu Gulager, and I had no idea that he was on Bonanza. I'm like. He was asking about my Wild West show, and he's like, oh, wait, so you do it in Virginia City? I'm like, yeah, like Bonanza. And then I go on IMDb, and I'm like, he was on Bonanza.
It is a
So
That's
it's a small
hysterical.
world.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So you use 6K. 6K?
6K, yep.
And that was that impressive camera I was actually looking at. I was actually kind
Yeah,
of
it
watching
was-
you guys. As I was watching you guys,
Yeah.
And it looked amazing. I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. Good going. Very well run, I must admit.
Definitely.
You had the cars take everybody from holding to set, and they did their
And
revolutions.
it ran like clockwork.
It
yeah,
did.
well, we really needed to because we were filming, the pilot's about 22 pages, and we had to film in 2.5 days.
Wow.
So we were
22
doing,
pages, 2.5
we were
days.
doing 8 pages kind of a day. The day that you were there, we were on an 9 page schedule, so it was go, 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 which definitely puts a little stress on the cast, but
Sure.
But we let everyone know that was how it's going to be run, and it had to run like clockwork, or it wouldn't have got finished.
Well, it was great to be part of it.
Yeah,
I
no,
thank you.
yeah, appreciate you
Yeah.
guys coming out, definitely.
Yeah, we're
looking-
pushing for parts right away here. Me and
Well,
Nancy
this thing
Reed.
it gets picked up and it moves forward, and there's so many characters that are involved with this series that it's
Isn't that
just
going to be like
gonna
a guy that's like an exhibitionist in the window, doesn't have to wear clothes? I could probably
You
play
could
that
do
part.
that. That'd be great. We can write
one
you into
nudist.
that. That's perfect. Yeah,
Hey, look,
Exactly.
how are you?
He's the nudist.
I like it. I like it.
See it.
The one thing I was bummed out about was that there wasn't actual alcohol in the bar.
That's true. That's true.
But I made a joke. It was so funny. I made a joke, and I'm like, oh, it's not real alcohol. And one of the extras, she's like, of course it's not. And I'm like, I know.
Yeah, we could have used it. I mean, it wasn't a real bar, so we could have, but yeah,
That
we had-
wasn't a real
expensive.
bar?
No, it was a real bar.
Oh,
so we
so
could have
say,
used
holy
it. But yeah.
smoke.
But
You don't want people to get sloshed
That's a
on
real
set. Although
transformation. He's like
Right,
Silver
right.
Cup Studios or
Right,
something.
right.
Whoa.
But Corey Diskin, who's our production
It's funny, I was
designer.
just
Right,
gonna mention
we know
Corey.
Corey.
You know
Yeah.
Corey, right? Yeah.
We
I
all
mean,
know
she
Corey.
was phenomenal.
The whole world knows
Yeah.
Corey.
We all know
Corey, if you're
was-
watching.
She was phenomenal. She really, from bar and the scenes that we shot before that's in the apartments, which were in Harlem, she literally transformed these apartments into these wonderful places.
She's amazing. The
She
work
is
she
really-
does.
She's a hard worker,
She's
too.
really
Really
good.
amazing.
We
Yeah.
worked with Corey on your Little West 12th Street. Nick and Nikki.
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
And Nick and Nikki, she's working on
But
that.
we've known her for
Yeah, but
years.
we've known her forever, and she's always there. She's
She
one
is.
of these people who just work, and she keeps her nose to the grindstone. She doesn't go out there. She's like, here I am.
Mm-hmm.
And what's amazing about Corey is she's done so much, but because she does it so well, sort of like a way a duck paddles under the water, it's just moving slowly.
She knows,
but
yeah. She
like a
knows what she's
motorboat.
doing. She really does. She just has. You give her a plan, and she knows how to execute it, and it's great.
Yeah.
It's great. Yeah.
She's very good like
Yeah.
that. you
Yeah.
know?
So you have all the puzzle pieces that you need.
Yes,
to make
and
this
that's what
work.
back to your pre-production and production question is that that's what's key is getting the pieces together from
Right.
every entity of the production, which Choice Films really helped us doing. Yeah.
That's true. Now, we have some photographs. We might be able to throw a few on, and then the next show we're on with you again.
Yeah,
So,
we'll have Kevin definitely.
Yeah. No, well, I'm talking about today's show afterwards.
Oh, okay.
But
Gotcha.
maybe Vicky can throw some up there. And this girl in particular coming up, I've seen her before.
I met her.
She plays your wife.
That plays my wife. Her name's Carol in the show. And
That plays your wife. That.
This is Yvonne Schaefer, and she is actually from Germany, and her husband is Federico.
From The Sopranos.
From The Sopranos.
Amazing.
Yes, that's her
We
husband.
know them too.
That is her husband, yes.
Who's
Yep.
this coming
And
up?
this is Nicole Moeller, and she's playing Dolly. And she's
and
also,
I met her, and I forgot to friend her, damn it.
Yeah, and
Nicole
she's
Moeller.
also the shaman, the healer. She works with Crystal. She's good friends
was in
with
Holding,
Carol.
too.
She was in Holding. Yeah,
I
that's
remember
what we
her
met
too. And who's that guy?
Who is that guy? Yep. And that's me playing Bobby, and Kevin is. It's a scene that we did actually at the bar, which you guys were at.
Right.
Yeah.
I remember that. That's
I was gonna
very
say that
annual.
shirt looks
Definitely.
familiar.
And what's this next scene?
Yeah, so this is a scene
Oh.
in Dolly's apartment where Dolly and Carol are painting Sicily, and this is played by Rebecca Boggs, and she is Dolly and Cicely are a couple,
Okay.
and Cicely is much younger than Dolly, and Cicely also gains the attraction of myself. Yep.
This is gonna be fun. There's Kevin.
There's Kevin. He plays Roland. This is a scene where we are in. We go to a drug dealer's house, and the drug dealer his name's Special K, and him.
Oh my God! I once dated a girl named Special K. So funny you say that.
That's funny that you dated a girl named Special K.
And it was Kathleen, and she was special.
Oh boy.
It's true.
Yeah. So this scene is a very, very funny scene. When we'll show it in the trailer when we have it. But yeah, it's a good scene, and that's Special K, the infamous drug dealer, and
Yeah,
him
she
and.
didn't look like that.
and
Boy,
yep,
you've changed a lot, Special K.
yeah.
Okay, that one's a tough one.
That one looks like a collage from.
That's just a
behind
montage
the
of it,
scenes, yeah.
definitely.
Very cool.
Yep.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So, what do you think the strengths of this show are that makes it different from some of the others?
Good question. I think going back to what I said, where it's kind of a Cheers meets Friends in a new modern kind of age. I think that hasn't been really done, and showing the environment of the West Village and meatpacking in that area in sense. I haven't seen a show yet kind of like that, and that's
Interesting.
what has really been grabbing attention to a lot of different distributors and people like that, because they see this as something that it's a new modern day edgy Friends, a new modern day edgy Cheers. It's kind of it's that combination, and people love those shows. And I kind of want to bring it back to that authenticity of those shows. There's so much variety of shows on today that are just not necessarily not good shows, but are just whether it's really violent or
Sure.
different things that
Sure.
repeat itself. in a
It's true. And
sense.
speaking of repeats, we'll be repeating. Well, actually, we won't be repeating, but we'll be right back with Wes on our next show. So we hope you enjoyed this show, and to thank you, Michelle, I appreciate it. I always appreciate you back. You're helping me, and of course, Alana, I appreciate that. And Cheryl Dobbins is out there. She's an amazing friend of ours that gets a lot. I want to thank Vicki Mealy for, first of all, being the mastermind of my surprise party last week. Thank you, Vicki. And Michelle, thank you for the house party, by the way. And with that, I want to say thank you to Wes. But stick around. We'll be right back. This is an hour-long version tonight. And with that, I want to say thank you to humbly say that the 4 people who run this station, own the station, they're incredibly wonderful. Vicki Mealy, Tom Mealy, Tommy Marr, and Janine Zerilli. To you guys, without you, there would not be Madhouse TV. We'll be right back after our credits roll.
Stay tuned for the Filmmaker Show right here on Long Island Cablevision Channel 20.
Watch Legal Straight Talk right here on Long Island Public Access Channel 20.
Why are you playing with your toys?
I watching Madhousetv.
Rolling and action.
Hi, I'm Jerry Parisi. Welcome to tonight's version of the Filmmaker Show. We are lucky to have our guest, Mr. Wes Hager, back again. And of course, with me is my wife, Michelle, and Alana Phillips, who now lives with us at this point.
Oh boy.
And soon will throw us out of our own house.
And don't forget it.
Yeah.
Well, that's not exactly the way it'll work.
Well, what'll happen? Who'll get thrown out? Me?
Don't even ask.
I think you already know
Looks
the
like
answer.
me. I've got this nice, cute bamboo pole with a white little cotton diaper thing, and I'll walk out with that.
Another character for the show.
There you go. And we're here tonight with Wes, and we're vying for
Jerry.
positions on his show.
Oh yeah, you
saying
did
all-
just get the pens for your birthday, so
Why did I get the pens for
and
my
prune
birthday?
juice.
I guess.
Anywho.
When you're that old, like I am, 117. No, actually, I'm 3. They think that you're old and you can't do these things. But let's get back to your show.
Sure.
And Michelle had some interesting questions during our break about your background. So maybe, Michelle, you could pick that up.
Okay.
There you go. Okay.
So tell me how you got into this whole industry.
Yeah,
Where did
sure,
it start
sure.
from?
Like I was saying before, I'm originally from Las Vegas,
Mm-hmm.
so I was born and raised there. And actually, my uncle and my grandpa are in the industry as well as actors. They're kind of. My grandpa actually was in the movie Casino,
Oh, okay.
which stemmed from Las Vegas, and that's how they kind of got those parts and stuff because they're
Sure.
actual. When they casted for that, they casted real local Las Vegas people. Anyways, long story short, I was from Las Vegas, and then I went to school in Virginia. I started studying theater, and then I moved to a school, Cal State Fullerton, and I played basketball at Cal State Fullerton, and moved my way up to LA. Got my theater degree, got my BFA in acting, and then just started kind of working the industry in LA and learning it, and really taking classes and studying. I was fortunate to grab a few commercials that kind of helped me financially in that sense, and just kind of kept learning the business. And the first 2-3 years in LA, that's what it is really learning the business and acting.
Sure, without a doubt.
It definitely is.
How did you go from being an actor to being behind the camera?
Yeah.
How
Well,
did that-
I've always been interested in it. I've always been writing and always been kind of doing that in a sense. And then when I moved to New York from LA, that's kind of when things started moving, where we developed a web series. We started writing more. I started meeting more people. I was, even when studying with kind of a bigger teacher and learning more about the craft, it was always that thing of kind of creating your own work. And then leading to me opening up a production company, that's kind of where it was at. It's like I need to do my own thing in order for the
Sure.
next thing to happen.
That's exactly correct.
Right, yeah.
That's
So
exactly
that's
So
kinda-
do you produce other people's
I
movies
will.
and
I
stuff?
will. 777 Pictures is a new production company, so that's the plan, is to produce other entities. But right now, Little West 12th Street, a web series, Two Guys in a Gym, and then a feature that we're coming up on is the only things that really we're producing right now. Yeah, but
There's
that's
only
the plan.
so many you can do at the
Right,
same
exactly,
time
yeah.
anyway.
But in the long
that
run, that's
works.
the plan, to keep moving with different
Right.
projects, and whether it's putting yourself in them or
Sure.
writing them or whatever it is, it's creating content that can enable you to advance your career.
Do you prefer to act or be behind the camera?
I kind of like both. I really
That's how I
love
feel, too.
acting. Obviously, that's my passion. But when you're behind the camera, you see it from a different perspective.
Sure.
Yeah.
And even
Totally
directing too. It's like when I was doing Little West 12th Street as the producer, and I wasn't in the scenes, I still was on set watching things, and I kind of had that energy to say I want to direct, but you know.
Have you ever directed?
Just little things like web series, things like that, but
Yeah.
not in a high volume setting. But I'm definitely looking forward to getting involved in that. Yeah.
So.
That's awesome. Tell us more about
yeah.
your acting background.
Yeah.
Especially, and this is a very important question I want to ask you. You come from Las Vegas. We know a Floridian that's living in Las Vegas.
Okay.
Not in Las Vegas.
Well, something in that state.
Nevada.
I am really geographically challenged when it comes to her state.
He thought
Right.
Nevada was in the Midwest.
Someone
And-
has said that to me.
Yeah, so a lot of people, yeah, and he's one of them. And so he kept telling people in New York, she's from the Midwest. I'm like, Jerry, you're going to make these people think I'm from Nebraska. So both start with
Wait,
N.
Nebraska, Nevada, same, no,
Yeah.
not same state?
Yeah.
And would you give advice to, let's say, an actress from that area to live in New York because there's more happening there? Or?
Yes, indefinitely.
Oh, good. Just
yes.
I don't know who I'm talking about at this moment.
Indefinitely.
I don't know who you're talking about
Yeah,
either.
I just-
in Nevada or Las Vegas, it's very hard to get involved in the film. I mean, when they film things in Las Vegas, then they cast local, which is
Sure.
great.
So
But
it's done.
they just don't do it that much.
A Floridian Nevadan. I've never heard of that
Florida-
before.
Yeah, that's who you are. That's who you
Floridian
are.
bear.
Oh, your hands are cold.
sorry.
It's okay.
I have a question now.
Woke
Speaking
me
of,
up.
of New York, and you're in New York.
Right.
Not to compare, but to compare. What's the difference? I put this out as loosely as I can between working in New York and working in Los Angeles.
Yeah, I would say there's a polar opposite.
Yeah,
Very
they are.
different.
Definitely
So
is.
I could have told you that.
Well, I know
Yeah.
that, but I want to hear from you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The real difference. I mean, I've heard the differences.
Yeah.
But I,
think
want to hear.
I think the cliche difference is that, LA is movies and all the Hollywood type stuff, and New York is more gritty. It's more the theater world and stuff. But nowadays, New York has just as many TV shows and films as LA. So that whole entity has changed. When I was working out there, it was more of me learning the process and learning what to do. And what I figured out was it's very driven just in that market. LA and everyone around that area is all about the industry. That's it. So everywhere you go, whether it's someone that works at Starbucks or someone that works at a car dealership, they're all trying to act. They're all trying to be in the industry. So everyone is like, who are you? What do you do? Can you help me in some way? That's kind of how
Wow.
LA is.
Interesting.
As with New York, it's so much bigger in a sense, where you have maybe 50% artists in a sense, where you're dealing with that industry. The other half are like business or whatever they do. So you kind of have a more of a open vicinity to where you can, not everyone is acting, not everyone is in the industry, which makes it tougher when you're doing that in LA, because it's like this competition level, where it's just like you just feel the energy of everybody really competing.
Would you say New York is more or less serious on doing work than Los Angeles?
I would say New York is more serious in the play world, in the world of theater, indefinitely. I think you get more training, I guess, in New York, and you kind of live a lifestyle that's more on the grind.
On the grind,
yeah.
that's a good way of putting it.
Yeah, you're Manhattan and New York is just, it's very intense.
Sure,
There's
it's
so many
intense.
people. The energy is just intense, and you feel that when you're here. You really do. And so I think that there is a big difference in energy between LA and New York.
Would you
Really do.
say that LA bends over backwards like New York does, or does LA do more or less than that? Because I mean, I can only speak from New York.
Yeah,
Being
definitely.
on every set, mostly about 8 or 10 a month I do.
Right.
Maybe a little less because Alana's here, but I just did, 4 this month? Alana. The mindset is New York bends over backwards.
Yeah.
Every single warehouse is being constructed into a studio.
Yep.
The New York City Police Department is always there to literally close streets.
Yep.
I was, last week I was on a set, and they were making snow. And when I got there, my car was a picture car, actually, for that, too.
Yeah.
And it was so funny. I'm like, why didn't New York ever clean these streets up with snow? I'm asking myself. It's like 6 blocks worth of snow. So wait a minute. When did it snow?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, the mayor's office, the New York TV, Film, and Media, they have really pushed for that access. And that's actually a good point you made, because in LA, it's not like that. It's extremely difficult to be on the streets and filming and get permits and stuff, unless you're huge companies and you're huge production. And it costs a lot of money.
And that's why New York.
Yeah. And New York, that's why New York has more of that indie feel and that kind of world to where they really want that industry to really thrive, and because it does. I mean, when you're filming TV shows or you're filming movies, it provides so many jobs, and it provides a lot of different avenues for people.
Sure.
Which is great. I think it's great.
Sure. So then, if I say what I've once heard,
right,
that New York at this moment is producing over 100 TV and movies.
Yeah.
And California is only doing about 32, 33. Would you say that's true?
I would say it's pretty accurate right now.
Wow.
Right now, yeah. I would say it's pretty accurate.
That's what we're hearing.
Yeah.
New York is 3 times as much as Los Angeles.
Yeah, I think New York is really, really at its pivotal point right now to produce content.
My mindset on a set is like, people grind hard. You grinded hard that day.
Yeah,
you had so
definitely.
many pages to do, and people are not like, here again, I can't say it's true or not, but on New York, it's like, okay, knock it out, next.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's scenes, whereas we're going to do a scene a little later. We have lunch now. We're going to get.
I think it all comes down to to the production that is, your budgets, your big companies that are producing different things. That's what it really comes down to. And New York being very indie driven and very kind of their money, the amount of money you have, really need to produce content and you need to get it done.
Yeah.
New York is on page for that. They can do it. In LA, I'm not saying they can't do it, but it's just I feel like there's always a bigger production or more budgets towards that, so they have more leeway to do different things. And they have space. I mean, they have Warner Brothers. They have all the huge studios and stuff.
Which is bigger in the studio? Steiner and the Brooklyn Navy Yard.
Which is all for New York?
Yeah.
They got the Navy Yard, then they have Silver Cup.
Kaufman, Kaisman.
Yeah, definitely.
And Broadway studios, and just all over the place now. But how big, let's say, our biggest studio is probably the one at the Navy Yard.
Probably.
I could be wrong.
I don't know. Yeah, and sheer size, I'm not sure. I
know size.
Universal and Warner Brothers and
they have to be
all
huge
that stuff
too.
In LA is enormous.
It's got to be.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's the
Burbank,
biggest of the big.
huge.
It's I mean, they have. That's one difference too. Is the studios that they have in LA
Warner
and Los
Brothers,
Angeles
especially, and there's so many in Burbank. I mean, that's where it is, Burbank.
Mm-hmm.
You go Warner Brothers, the tower's here. There's the record company here for Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers is over here.
Yeah.
Then Universal's right here, but then there's Warner Brothers again. You know,
And
it's
then
just like
and then Sony Studios, and then I mean,
Sony.
that's because that's where it all came from in a sense. So it's
I would
all,
then deduct that all of us should actually be part of both of those worlds to really get a feel.
Oh, I think so, 100%. Yeah.
And see what works for you.
A lot of people that grow up in New York, that are from New York and lived here a long time, they always want to get to LA. They think it is. I mean, climate. It's a much pleasurable place to live because of the climate and that kind of thing. But in the industry, it's very difficult. If you're not someone that has some ties or has connections, it's hard to just go in there and get a lot of work done. And people realize that when they move from New York to LA. So I always encourage people to really have some stability in New York, especially with representation or different things like that, than to just go out to LA and try and wing it. Yeah.
That's
it's
true.
kind of better to have a plan in that sense.
Yeah. What was your impression of being on his set, Michelle?
It was great. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was run very well.
Yeah, thank you.
I enjoyed being in the scene.
Definitely, yeah.
And they rolled out the red carpet for you too.
they did.
more to come.
Straight to Macy's, Herald Square.
That's good.
It was a lot of
Yeah,
fun.
I even got my Macy's Herald Square fix in when I was there.
Oh, nice. There you go. Very cool.
So I think
Because it was right. It was close
so
to it.
close.
That's right.
Yeah.
we touched on all the
Yeah.
pictures, but what I wanted to ask you is now, what's the next steps for Little West 12th
Definitely.
Street?
Yes. So obviously, our next step is now we're in a rough edit. So
Okay.
once the rough edit is developed, we'll go into a trailer. We'll create a trailer. We'll color correct it. We'll go through those stages, and then we'll get entities like yourself, distribution in terms of different companies that are looking for content. We'll get that to them. And we'll just kind of take those steps. Obviously, I told you we have the Facebook page. We'll have a website. We'll have a whole pitch packet. We'll have all that for people to see. And then, yeah, it's just kind of moving.
Are you going to take the show to NAPTI down in Florida to sell it? NAPTI is the big convention. It's usually January.
It's possible. Yeah, it's possible. I know, what's her name? Carol, the girl who plays Carol, Yvonne. She's very connected with European markets.
Oh, that's
so there's
good.
already people that she's expressed this to that are interested in it, so we want to get that to them as well.
Great.
So yeah, we're trying to just trying to get it out to as many people as we can to see what really sticks with it, because it is something that I think really can become a really good series and really do some great work.
It just seems like a great feeling, a great
I think
aura
so too.
about it. I noticed
Definitely.
that day. You know, and I thank you for allowing us in it. Basically, I was kind of like more the spectator, even though I was in the bar.
Right.
I was kind of like, okay, what are they doing here? Someone else will be. I'm kind of like watching, and it's like, okay, good, check, great, check.
Yeah.
Nice. Everything was spot on the way
It
you
was just
handled it.
smooth.
We
And
had a really strong production team and cast and everything, so it worked out well. And like I said, we had to really detail that to make it move the way it moved.
It's a good show.
Yeah.
And so once you get this out there, what's your next steps? I mean, for distribution beyond that.
Yeah, no, we just
Where do you
we
wanna
already
be?
have another first season already wrote, so that
Okay, that's what I meant,
It's
yeah.
already written, and from there we have kind of synopsis of the second season to go into as many seasons as we can. Right, that's kind of the plan.
It's such the protocol.
Yeah.
It's simply the protocol. Anybody who's a filmmaker, or whether you're professional or independent or wherever you fall in this, it simply is that protocol. And if you don't do it that way,
right.
then you're really not going to get there, because Hollywood isn't going to let you in their doors.
Right. Yeah, exactly. You need to have that preparation to show people what they want to see, because they're going to
It's
say,
true.
"Do you have X, Y, and Z?" And if you don't, then you're wasting their time. In a sense.
Now, how do you feel about IATSE and all the other unions that sooner or later will have to be involved with this, because that's what gets you, when the check marks come down, are they this, or this, and this? Who cast? They did this, and this, and this, because you got Donna.
Right,
this,
right,
this, and this.
exactly.
And now we can take a look at you, or put you in the arena of the idea that we may distribute you.
Yeah.
I mean, people don't realize what has to come to this, like buying a house in New York.
Yeah,
If you don't have
it
like
is.
50 things ready to go their way,
Right.
you're not going to get anywhere. There's no
Right.
such thing as, I'm going to do this my way. Oh, no, you ain't.
Yeah. And that's a good point too. Is when you bring this into that place where you're there, and now it's people are really interested. There's so many avenues you can go down.
Sure.
I mean, the best avenue is to have complete control of your creative content.
That
and
would be the
able
best,
to
sure.
use your same production companies, use your same crew, your cast, and have distribution that way. And usually they put on like a showrunner,
Yeah.
or they'll bring on new writers, things like that,
Right.
which is totally fine with us. That would be the best scenario.
Sure.
But then again, too, is if, say, a bigger company says, here's X amount of dollars to produce
That
this.
happens.
We want to recast. We want to shoot this again. You just never know.
You don't know.
You never
and
know, yeah.
It's so funny that when you're on the set, the you don't knows become even further than you think.
Of course.
The you don't knows. It's amazing
Mm-hmm.
how you easily can lose footing just because. And there's
Mm-hmm.
no real chemistry that until it's finally put together and put on. And then later on, they could turn around and recast you too. I mean,
Of course, yeah.
uh,
Yeah, exactly.
The Wizard of Oz, who was going to play the Tin Man? I forget.
Oh, it was.
This quickly study.
I don't remember, but wasn't it Jack Haley who laid?
It had to
I
do
don't
with
remember.
he couldn't wear
He
the
couldn't wear it
makeup
yet
for
because
those
he
amount
was
of
allergic
hours.
to the face paint.
Yes, where's Marcus when we need him? Because he knows his answers.
Quick, Cheryl, do some research. I should know that.
Yeah, and he was already cast, and I guess
Right.
they had to do everything they had to do all over again.
Right.
You
Yeah.
Because once that happens, and once you're memorialized on it, it's either it's if it doesn't go, it's going to be thrown away.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Exactly.
a hard,
those
it's a hard
decisions
balance.
have to be made. It is. It definitely
because you
is.
have your creative vision,
Right.
and you have the people that you wanted it, and you've made it what you want it to be.
Right.
But in order to propel it, you may have to
Yeah,
negotiate a lot
there
of
is
that.
there is a lot of negotiation process. There definitely is. Yeah.
Buddy Ebsen? Oh, was it Buddy Ebsen?
Buddy
Ah.
Epson.
Buddy Ebsen. Thank
Oh,
you,
okay.
Vicki.
Thank you.
Yes, we just went to a Buddy Ebsen spasm. And
Buddy Epson.
Oh yeah.
just like you played on the acting class the other day with a woman with Tourette's. Hi, Connie.
I can't say what I said when I did that. Was fun though. Beep. No. It's a lot
That's
of fun.
hysterical. I want to just take the time out to ask people if they want to get in touch with you, how can they find you, Wes?
Just you.
Just myself. Yeah, I have my own website, weshager.com, and obviously from Facebook to Instagram to Twitter, have all those. And I think my Twitter is Vegas23W, I think. Yeah, something like that. Or it's
I just tagged
Wes
you. I
Hager,
think it's Wes
Wes
Hager
Hager
or something.
23. It might
Yeah.
just be Wes Hager now. I might have changed it. But yeah, so it's definitely
right on.
out there.
Definitely.
It's out there for sure.
So
Okay, that's good. You
Yeah.
know, I want to point out another thing that we're on our new time, and look what I found. Connie is here
Happy Wednesday!
Date night with Christy and Connie are following our show. That's at
It's at 8 o'clock.
8 o'clock. I knew that. I got a date, and
And we have an amazing guest. We have the group O.L. Amore,
I heard.
which is Long Island's hottest cover band. So
Ah,
check it out.
And I love the way their masks are on. You wouldn't know that's actually me.
Hey, I thought it was a secret.
How I wish. No, they're a lot better looking than I am.
Ah.
So stick around with Madhouse TV tonight, and we got a few more minutes, and I'll let her put her makeup on and get ready for her show, which is on another one of the sets here, but you're going to have a lot of fun watching Date Night tonight.
Yeah.
And let's get back to Wes now. I wanted to ask you, thank you, Connie. I wanted to ask you more about your choices for production, the people that you're working with.
Yes.
I mean, understanding that things do sadly change, what do you at least try to do to keep these people reeled in? Do you think like the director, let's use him as an example,
Right. Yeah.
only as an example, do you hope to get him in as a director? And if he doesn't, can he be somewhere else? I mean, that's...
Right, totally,
that's-
yeah. In terms of that, there's definitely more key pieces
Sure.
from your director to whether it's the producer or the teams that are involved. When you get kind of below the line in sense of cast, when you're working with your like ADs and your sound people, those people you can pretty much vouch for to get in a sense. You can use them because they're doing what they're doing and they're a phenomenal team. In terms of like the director is also a writer on it, so he has a little bit more leverage in a sense. So he would definitely have to be pulled on as a director. But then again, too, is if a company comes to you and says they want to buy the whole project for you, we have to make the decision if
Sure, if you want to
we
sell
want
it.
to sell it
Right.
to them. Yeah, so that's,
Sure.
I guess in my own defense, I would say we want to keep on, obviously, myself and my production team.
Sure.
And the director.
And me.
And yourself, yeah. And we would kind of push for that to where we have that creative ability.
Absolutely.
It just all, like we just talked about, it all comes down to what's in the air and what's going to be able
Right.
to push the show.
I
and
know
make
that
it.
everybody
We
kinda
really,
wrestles
we
with
really
that.
don't want to lose hands in the show because I think
Right.
they can take the show in so many different directions.
Make it something that it's not.
Yeah, exactly. And we,
Yeah.
it's kind of like a baby to us, and we really want to develop the way we want to develop it.
Yeah.
And we think that a lot of people will enjoy the movement we're going with.
It could happen that your vision, when you give it to writers who don't know you,
Totally, yeah.
completely change the whole concept.
Exactly.
And then it
exactly.
gets completely watered
Yeah,
down
and that's
changes
happened
it.
with a lot of shows where
Sure.
it's like this show was something, and then they developed it into something completely different, and then it either
Right.
made the show better in a sense, or it made it completely,
Just different.
yeah, just different.
Right.
Yeah,
So it's something we all wrestle with.
definitely.
Let
definitely.
me ask you something. In terms of writers, how, and I've asked this to distributors who we work with, how strong are writers to suggest casting to someone?
In terms of casting and like an actor.
Let's
and
suppose
stuff?
John Doe is a writer,
Right.
and he happens to write the part of Mr. Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Okay.
And he knows a man who's that tall and everything else, and he suggests to the director, can I have this man, he's 6'11", and I know he'll work.
Right.
How strong is that writer's input to casting?
Right. I think it depends on how up on the ladder that writer is. If he's the main writer, then he has a very strong pull in that sense.
Well, that's a good answer.
To at least get that person in the room to say, director, look at this, production company, look at this. But if you're, there's so, even like say if our show got picked up, we would have so many writers on it that we would hire to help.
Sure.
So those writers, they would have a say in a sense to say this guy might be good, let's see him, but not as much say as say the main writer. But I would say they definitely have a lot of pull.
That's important.
Definitely, yeah.
That's
Yeah.
important.
I have a lot of friends that know really good writers for shows, and they're able to bring them in for at least an audition. Yeah.
It's interesting. I really
Yeah.
didn't know that in the background, really. So.
Yeah.
Oh, sure. I mean, anybody can contribute anything to these TV shows.
Well, sure. I
mean,
didn't-
even Tom Mealy. Oh, wait, there he is.
Hi, Tom.
Hi.
You never know who's going to show up at Madhouse
party
TV,
tonight, I
everybody. You
think.
never know. It's one of those nights, you know. But it's interesting because you never know really where the talent's going to get reeled in from. I mean, generally, you bring in a casting director, but it could be anywhere. And that's just not only talent in front of the camera, but the people behind the camera who suggest what.
Yep.
And I guess with all those variables, that's one of the reasons it's so hard to surf all of this and get that straight and come up with that final answer till it's actually finished.
Right.
You know,
I agree.
we
Definitely.
were in an acting class with Lisa Regina, who's going to be on our show very soon, and she's an amazing coach, and I actually can't wait to get her on here. But one of the things that we were talking about in this this class that she runs an amazing day-long class, a couple of weekends, I think. And it's the idea that if so-and-so is cast, and he's 5'11", and all the girls have to be no taller than 5'7" or 8", and suddenly somebody gets recast, and now we've got the guy that's 5'6", and those girls are taller, well, they're going to get all recast, and they're never told why.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You
Well, that even brings up a point when we were in the casting room, casting for Little West 12th Street with Donna. There were so many great people to fit all these characters, but it's putting together a puzzle pretty much.
Yes.
We're going to cast this girl, the way she looks and the way how her height and whatnot. We have to mirror her with this person.
Yeah,
so
it
it's
has to
really like
match.
it's really building a puzzle, and that's what even myself and other actors might not have known before that. Before me being behind the scenes, is that it's really not about you not being a great actor or anything. It's about what's
the
gonna
art direction.
Well, exactly. What's going
Literally.
to fit into the puzzle.
It's the art
Yeah,
direction.
I mean, we pulled in so many people, and we had so many great people. I mean, even from bigger names to whatnot, but it just didn't fit the puzzle.
Right.
So that's the difference.
Yeah, because Donna said she had like what 5,900
5,900
submissions.
for one role.
Yeah, yeah.
5,900 submissions
Yeah,
for one role.
yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I think one of the leads, Carol. I mean, there was, I think, 900 submissions alone for that. Yeah.
900. Well,
Yeah.
well, unfortunately, our show has come to an end tonight. But before we go to that end, again, I love to say thanks to Cheryl Dobbins, who's out there producing our show, and Vicki, who's behind the scenes. I want to say thank you, Michelle, because without your steady input and help, I mean, you are the great woman behind the man, and I say that respectfully and humbly.
Thank you.
And speaking of a second great woman behind the show, that would be you. I appreciate your
Consulting
strength.
producer.
And you actually were the one who got Wes here. And Wes, thank you for your time.
Yes, thank you
You know,
guys.
it's,
Great to
and
have
we
you.
can't wait
Thank
to have you back, and we certainly will.
Yep.
And hopefully some of your friends from the show will be on with us, and then
Yeah.
you'll realize how important I am to your show.
Exactly.
Overall, I'm very excited for your show.
Yeah.
The energy was great. The actors are great, and I wish you the best on
Amazing.
it.
It's
Thank
great.
you.
It's
Thank
all
you.
great.
Thank you.
Including me. I was the best too.
Oh, God, you're the best one on the set. And speaking of the best, there are 4 wonderful people that I can never say thank you enough to, which is why I do it every week. And that would be Tommy Marr, Janine Zarilli, Vicki Mealy, and he's no spokesman, folks. He is Tom Mealy. And without that brains behind this, we could never have Madhouse TV. So thanks a lot, Tom. Stay tuned. Date night is about a half of an hour from now. We'll see you then. Take
Good
care.
night.
Good night, everyone.